media project.
Excuse me, do you mind if I join you? Are you sure you don't mind? You're absolutely sure about me disturbing you?
Wait. You guys went out to Cliffs?
Chilly-hearted Cliffs?
Cold-hearted Cliffs.
Hello and welcome to the Mental Suppository. I'm Bret Herholtz.
I'm Andrew Shanley.
Our guest today, welcoming him back, is filmmaker and special effects wizard Andy Sawyer, who just completed his latest movie, There Is No Escape. Andy, thank you for stopping by.
Well, thank you for having me.
So, Andrew and I both have taken part in your film as well as some of your short films, but for you, this film has actually been sort of a long time in the works. So, could you talk to us a little bit about what you went through, just sort of developing it as a full-length film?
Well, that is actually quite a story, but I can abbreviate it pretty quickly. It originally never was meant to be a feature-length film. Many years ago, I just come off shooting The Last Exit, which is another feature-length film I did a long time ago. And after that, I had trouble getting some ideas going. I mean, I had an idea, but everything seemed to fall apart due to either the location or budget or timing or scheduling. And I did a couple of short films. One was Jinyu, about 17 minutes, about some demon in the wood kind of scenario. And then I did another one called Contemptus, which was a couple of young lady friends who messing with some demons that they shouldn't do. But I was itching to do a feature-length film again, or just something to get something going again. And I did the unthinkable, which is something I never would ever do, but I took a note from the mainstream professional movie makers, and I approached my friend Tim Doust at the FATV at the time, and I said, we're gonna make a film date that we can fit in film. So we basically gave ourselves 9 weeks to shoot this idea, and I had a picture. I drew a clip. Cold-hearted Cliff is the killer snowman in the movie. If you haven't gotten to that, I don't know if you've gotten that information out to your public yet or not.
Not yet, but if people got to imagine this, I've seen this thing up close, and it is really impressive. I mean, if you see Cold-hearted Cliff up close and personal, this is a great design.
It's a terrifying 8-foot snowman character with axe-wielding snowman character with a really angry face and big sharp teeth. Absolutely hilarious. Where was I? Oh yeah. Anyways, I give myself, I said we're gonna give ourselves 9 weeks and we'll just be ready. And the character actually comes from another film I was working on about some killer Christmas trees. And this is how far back this goes. It was gonna be originally a short film about killer Christmas trees, but the script I kept writing was uneventful, boring, and it needed something. So I took a little note from Alien versus Predator. People, we'll give these Christmas trees a villain. And it was during the shooting of Contemptus, one of those films I spoke of earlier. We saw a snowman out off in the distance and it lost its head, and we all started joking about it. It became like, oh, that's the killer snowman, and he's gonna die as soon as the ice melts because somebody made him on the pond, right, where we actually filmed.
Oh,
but this
wow.
is during. So, during the development of this story of the Christmas trees versus the snowman character started becoming much more interesting than anything we could do with the killer Christmas trees. So long story short, the Killer Christmas Trees became a 2-minute film that I kind of just threw away as a Christmas card to friends.
Right.
But the character of the snowman had potential, and we just kept building on it, and we gave it this incredibly wonderful backstory about a local hero who built this town, logging town out of nothing, and then he found out his wife was having an affair, and he kills her, and then people chase him into the woods and stuff. And it has this wonderful backstory where he's hiding in the woods, chopping down trees, and he sends down his axe in the last log he sends to town, and then all of a sudden no one ever hears from him again. So I took that and I mixed that with the old Indian folklore about people turning into snowman. I can't remember off the hand which tribe that is, but
Okay.
It's a real. And then that's where Cold-hearted Cliff comes from. For some reason, he becomes a man to his 8-foot tall killer snowman with a giant axe. It's hilarious.
any of us who live up in New England and have to deal with the winter, that would be the greatest curse, is to come back as a snowman. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think people already are snowmen because I've seen people like wearing their shorts and flip flops and going to Dunkin' Donuts getting iced coffees. I mean, that's like, I don't know what like unnatural superpower people have to do that, but they do exist.
the other thing about the movie that I really liked is it really seemed inspired by the 1980s horror movie, even down to the soundtrack, which just sounded very authentic, and the music just sounded right out of that era, and I really liked that.
A lot of it was done by a friend of mine, the Nigel Taylor. May he rest in peace.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good thing.
Yeah, I love it because actually that most of the soundtrack for the Snowman movie was rejected tracks they couldn't use from the Last Exit. All the music he wrote for the Last Exit, he gave me a bunch of it, and then just there were some tracks that weren't feasible, didn't really use, and I think there's only one track we re-recorded, which is the main theme song you hear during the opening credits.
Right.
But yeah, but I love the '80s. I'm stuck in the '80s. I mean, that's every single influence of my life. Girls, love, horror, school,
Filmmaking.
politics, of which we're not going to
Well,
talk
it's the
about.
best decade ever, so there you
Yeah,
go.
we keep revisiting it now.
I know.
I
But
mean,
anyway, what I was saying before about the character, an interesting thing about the Cliff character is he comes back as a vengeful spirit, but he's almost like a crusader of commitment. If he only comes out and attacks those who are being promiscuous or unfaithful.
I noticed
And
that. Yeah.
Anybody else who gets in his way. So that's kind of like the hook of the whole movie. It came out. It took 6 years to make, and then I'll get to that after why it took that long. But I am, for the most part, really proud of this project, and I am my
You
worst.
should be.
I am my worst critic by a long shot. But this one I actually have watched a couple times and laughed. And on a personal level, I remember things when we shot that day, so that thing I had that advantage over other people who weren't
Right.
there. But like I was saying, the first story was shot as a half-hour film for the local TV station, FATV, Fitchburg Active Television.
Right.
And I filmed it, and it was there, and it was out. And I edited it to be the 30-minute feature slot for the TV station, to be kind of polite to other programmers. And then right away, this had never happened before. And Allison, my friend who produces a lot of my movies with me, she was shocked by this. I go, this is probably the first film I ever want to do a sequel to. And so I did, and we again shot another short film. Honestly, secretly, I like the second one better a little bit, because I think it's because we established the character, we could have more fun with it, and there wasn't so much detail to it. We kind of got right into the story, and it winked and homaged and it nodded to the first one. But the interesting thing is, on one summer when I was filming the second one, I was rewatching the first one, and I'm like, oh my gosh, really wish I would have done that. I really wish I would have fixed that. I lines this and that. And so I took one night and I sat down and watched the original 30-minute feature. And I made a list of things that I watched, what I wanted to change. And I came up to there were like 40, 41 things that I really wanted to change, like just mostly like how long clips were held and stuff like this and that. And some special effects that made the movie make more sense. The icicles hanging off the rifle. As opposed
That
to
was great. That was a really good
As
effect.
opposed to the rifle just lying down on the ground. So yeah, little things like that kind of, that little thing. And so I go, well, I'm going to remake this. I'll revamp this one. I'll reboot this one at the same time. So I filmed extra footage the same time I was shooting the sequel. And then that is where that all came from. Now,
That's
fast
really
forward
cool.
a couple of years, I had both of those films, and although your viewers can't see them, I got both of those still half-hour video features right here, and these are exclusively available nowhere.
you have to know somebody.
You got to know a guy.
Yeah, I
know a guy.
I gave them out to the cast and crew. So.
Oh, that's cool.
That was what those are for. So yeah, and then I was watching. Now fast forward a little bit here to earlier this year. I was watching a movie with Drew. We'll spare the viewers the name of the movie, but it was a particularly, one of those cheesy, throwaway, fun movies you watch on Tubi or Crackle or one of those.
Yes.
There's a lot of them.
I liked the movie, but Drew was getting very frustrated at it. Especially when he pointed out the fact that I noticed halfway through that they were shooting on a cell phone. I could tell that it was something about the filming of it was really weird. And I'm like, oh, they shot this thing entirely on a cell phone. I got it. And then that got Drew even more angrier and hilarious.
Oh my God.
There's actually an episode of Andy's Little Sci-Fi Horror Show that refers back to this. I can send you the link. You can actually watch that.
I think I know the episode you're talking about. Was it the one that they're completely going up corridors and going up steps the whole time?
No.
Oh, this is a different one.
Yeah, this is an even worse film.
Oh, really?
Well, in his opinion, I thought it was brilliant. But then again, I made a movie about it.
I mean, we could tell them what the movie was. We could tell them what the movie was.
We'll send it. We'll link the episode and they can watch it themselves.
Okay.
Oh, it can't be any worse than the Beast of Yucca Flats.
Oh, it can be.
Oh, it can. Really?
You'd be surprised. The Beast of Yucca Flats was shot on film. This was.
And it was in focus.
Yeah.
And it was in focus.
So, I mean, I jokingly, so what it basically, my point to that is I decided with Drew's raving, I decided to take the two films and then just like compare them side by side. And then I did that, and I actually I put them both on a video timeline and an editing machine, and I just cut them and I spliced them together. And I'm like, wow, these plot kind of are the same. Something happens off in the beginning, you're introduced to some characters, and then some stuff happens, and then they both take place in one day. And so systematically, it actually cut together the two movies really well. And then all I needed was a bridge between the two of them, and that's where you guys came in.
Yeah.
In the writing of I added the two characters. Actually, your character, Bret, was already voiced by me. And it was just a one phone conversation, of which we never saw the father. You played the father of.
Right.
And then it was never shown. It was always just a voice on the phone, which was my voice. And then to come back out and flesh that out and put you in there and write and expand the script a little bit, that along with connecting you as friends and connection to the sheriff of the other gentleman here, that made the movie solidify and be one cohesive thing. And I always knew it would work in my mind, but I didn't know if it was going to work in other people's minds. And I guess Drew saw it yesterday, and it flows nicely.
I love it.
My wife has seen it half a dozen times. And she would be completely honest. She would be like, "This doesn't make any sense." You know, she knows to be honest enough. But she's like, "This makes sense. It really works." I'm like, "Yes." Yeah.
Actually, Andrew's character might be my favorite character in the film.
I actually like Brooke's character. Not to pick favorites. It's like picking favorites of your kids, but not really. Because, but the character of Brooke, she was the quintessential. She was like the one who said everything that the viewer was thinking. Kind of thing. I just loved that. And she's played by Brooke Bollinger, and she's adorable. She's a really well what's the word? She's very good at production. She actually worked in video production herself, so she knew how to work. She knew how to work the camera, and she knew how to be smarty. I had to kind of get it out of her because she's kind of a sweet girl. So I like having people play a little bit against roles. Like you can say this. So I know. Yeah. I'm big on the ad-libbing too. I let people ad-lib.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the good things about working with Andy, and I'll say this right now, is that like he loves to for him, movie making is such a fluid process.
Yeah.
As long as we get like the main chunks of it, and then like we try something new or something like that, we can just do whatever we need to do to make it better. Like I remember we were just doing the sheriff stuff, and he's like, just do something whatever with the radio, and I'm like, okay. And so the whole stuff with me ranting at the radio about like these damn yuppies and blah blah blah, and there's no air conditioning, and
in this Tonka truck,
and like honestly, I was just like that was just like some great little natural ad lib moment that we captured, and Andy just put it in the movie, and kudos, that makes it great. I love it.
The other thing our listeners should know about, working with Andy on films is his enthusiasm for it is just so infectious that, it carries over to you, and you get really caught up, enjoying the whole experience of it, because you just have such a zeal for it.
I thought that's really how I come across.
Yeah.
Because I always feel like my mind is like 5 steps ahead of myself, and I'm like, all right, as long as we get this to be right, my head's like that.
No, you have your excitement for it is just.
Yeah, I love it. I love working with you, man, because honestly, when we do a movie or something like that, it's like it's fun. It's just like hanging out with friends.
And yeah, my wife and I both agree. Andrew's sheriff was our favorite character in it.
I mean, a lot of those scenes, I like I said back to before, ad-libbing is fun.
Yep.
As long as you get it, I like to shoot it one way and say, this in case, shoot it the way it was made, just to get the point across. But when it comes to ad-libbing, like, I don't mind if you ad-lib, but I ask actors the two things. Remember what you said, and, stay in character.
Right.
Because as long as you get from point A to point B in a scene, in any given scene, you've got your point across. I mean, as long as if you can say whatever you need to roundabout to get away. Like a very perfect example, the guys at the tent.
Yes.
Joe Cavalier, the guys, they're kind of their characters are kind of blue if you haven't seen it or not or don't know what you're talking about. They're kind of piggish characters. But again, in real life, they're not like that, which makes it absolutely freaking hilarious to watch it from that perspective. I've worked with Joe a couple times, and I've learned to just give him the bare bones script. This is what the scene is about. You know what you got to do. Be like this character and just ham it up, and then go for it. And I remember he asked me to go. How far can I go? Just go, and I will cut it back if you go too far.
I'm just gonna put an M80 in my mouth and see what happens.
Yes. I take it that was ad-libbed.
You're gonna take a swig of beer.
Let's go ahead and light it.
But on the flip side of that, the scene with the scene on the dock with the girls, they walk in the direction was they walk off to the camera to walk off away from the other girl who's by herself trying to call her boyfriend.
Yeah.
She's all the whole two different world dynamics going on in that scene. Her friend's upset, and they're just kind of like they haven't been to that pond since they were kids and having a great time. And I basically said, look, I need a couple of seconds feel here, a cutaway back and forth. So I go, just you guys are friends. You're here at the beach. You haven't been here in a long time. Brooke turns and she sees some blueberries on this thing, and she's like, and then the other one's like, she starts to go for it, and the other one's like, oh, the blueberries are back, and they do this wonderful, completely like Oscar-winning acting back and forth, like friends, and it was complete BS on the moment. They just
Really? I thought that was scripted.
The whole blueberry thing, all of that was just oh guys, hang out here at the beach and do something, look out at the water or whatever, and then Brooke she turned around to the blueberry bush and started picking at him. And then she ate one. I'm thinking, oh God, please don't get sick or anything.
Yes, you think don't have it be something where you're not supposed to. Yeah.
I mean,
we don't have that in the insurance budget.
Not a blueberry.
My expression behind the camera must have been hilarious. I'm like, she's really gonna eat that, and then she didn't. She's like, oh, I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh yeah, they look all right actually. They look pretty good.
I do want to talk a little bit about the construction, like some of the special effects. Obviously,
Yes.
Andy, you did this amazing snowman character
Oh my goodness.
with Cliff. Now, Ken Sawyer was the person who was in the costume the entire time, and kudos to him because he's always the one in the big costume doing this. And this isn't just like a big snowman costume. This is you're surrounded by foam and paint and all kinds of other things, and it's 90 degrees outside.
And we've seen this up close. It's an impressive costume.
It is, and he's done this for Andy for years. I mean, we did The Last Exit. He was the werewolf, and he was the werewolf in that. Well,
I would be remiss if I didn't mention that he actually has that snowman and the werewolf and those costumes that he wears. They're 50-50 collaboration. I mean, I came up with an idea, and he helped create it. But the snowman one was very interesting. That one is basically chicken wire and foam and some hula hoops to hold it in place.
Hula hoops.
And hula hoops at the
Wow.
bottom. Yeah, and that's actually kind of funny because it was I don't know, April or something. We didn't think hula hoops were going to be in season, and of course we go to the dollar store of all places, and there they are. So
You can find anything at the dollar store.
I love the dollar store.
Yeah.
Pops are made from there. But it was funny. Like I said, this movie was a full-length feature cut from 2 half-hour films, added on and extra footage and special edition footage and all that stuff. And every time we did this, we had to bring that snowman back out from the back of the creature shop and fix it. And now this thing, you gotta imagine, it was heavy to begin with, and we recoated the entire thing with latex. We must have done that 5 or 6 times. When you guys were filming with that snowman, it's about literally 3 times as heavier than when it was when the first movie.
Holy mackerel.
Coating on it, just fixing it and adding duct tape in the center, and Fortunately, it looks the same through all 7 years of shooting with it. So I was very pleased with that. Because there were some summers we had that thing crammed in the back of the creature shop and it got smushed and we had
Oh,
Yeah, the cold-hearted Cliff had to rise back up.
yes. And now we had him for a little while propped up on a makeshift stand. When we clean the creature shop out again this break, we're gonna definitely put him back up on his stand and stand him up and give him some respect. So
I'm just waiting for the AM Creature Shop Museum.
Oh,
yes.
you guys have already taken that tour.
You already have the Andyland Museum in your basement, so.
Yeah.
Yes. Which I got wonderfully framed on video in front of me. So
I know. That's like a pretty good shot there, actually.
Yeah.
That's the screening room shot. That's the couch where we watched
Yeah,
such great, amazing movies and stuff like that. I mean, it's a fun place to go because like whenever you go to Andy's basement where he works on these movies, it's like he's surrounded by all the autographs, all the memorabilia, all the creativity. It's like walking into Ray Bradbury's like the Ray Bradbury Theater where you walk in to see Ray Bradbury's. He's got all this stuff everywhere like that he just brings he uses to kind of build his imagination up. That's basically what his basement is, and it's just such a magical place.
I'm looking around. I'm looking around, and you're like narrating what I'm looking at. I get the sandworms from Mars up there to my upper left. I got the giant bugs from Go Outside and Play, the award-winning Go Outside and Play, the Trauma Film Police Go Outside and Play. Yes, I'm a film director. I'll say it proudly.
Yes, you are. That's right.
I won the 15-second film contest. So
you've gone farther than some people.
I got the logo, the opening logo on my.
A Trauma Team release.
Yes, exactly.
I think that's the great part about your filmmaking is I think a lot of people I think this is a great thing to tell people who want to go out and make films is just go out and do it. Because a lot of people can sometimes get caught up in their own heads and think, oh, I got to do this and I got to do that. And then and sometimes productions never get done because they get so caught up in all the small details. But you just say, you just kind of get it down, shoot it and just get this out or it'll never get out. And I think, just doing filmmaking with you it would just be a great masterclass in independent filmmaking.
I think that when I first met Andy, we met obviously in the early 90s. It was like 93 when we met. And one of the big movies that was a big influence on me was Ed Wood. Not only because it was about filmmaking, but it was about this guy who just didn't let stuff get in the way. He was just like, we just need to shoot it, And even though those movies now are regarded as bad movies, it's the spirit. B movies.
I love B movies. I think
the spirit that guy had for making films back then and what he achieved in his career, even though it wasn't like Spielberg or Lucas or any of this, he was really one of the first directors that really kind of made schlock cinema really popular. And that's got its own little thing to it. You
see the difference between someone like Ed Wood and say like a Hal Warren that directed and produced Manos: The Hands of Fate is the thing is with the Ed Wood films is they're bad films, but you could still enjoy them. You don't get annoyed or bored with them. You watch Manos and it's just like, without the Mystery Science Theater comments, it's just so painful to get through. And that's the whole thing. Ed Wood's films are, they're bad movies, but they're enjoyably bad.
Yeah.
It's like we didn't really always know what we were doing, but we knew it needed to get done.
Exactly.
That's kind of what, when it came to the special effects and, and that basically the production actually getting done. I mean, I'm more proud of a bad film that's complete as opposed to a good idea someone's working on right now.
Right.
That makes me. It's like just shut up and do it. I'm working on a film. Well, how much did you make today? Yeah. Well, I'm just banging some ideas around in my head. Like, really? That's what you call working on a movie? I'm working on 9 movies as we do this interview right now.
Right.
That's what making a movie is. So.
Well, not only that, but like your show, Andy's Little Sci-Fi Horror Show.
Yes.
Again,
I've
been part of.
Mention that. Yep.
Probably since the very start.
How many episodes is it out to now? Up to now?
God.
I actually right across the way over the editing system. I'm editing episode 606.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's been going on it's been on for many years. 10-minute episodes online, and basically 3 episodes a week per on the public access. So that's where the really majority of people are watching it are access now.
He has a Freddie Ruxpin right behind him. He made for the show.
Right.
That's brilliant. And what's the other doll you made? The
Oh, geez,
one
I
next
don't
to
know.
it.
That's
the-
plus the cricket. That's Happy. You can probably see Happy over here. It's pretty cool.
I know, but like he does this stuff, and it's just so freaking cool. It's like
Yeah,
the best stuff
absolutely.
ever. And like it just maybe we don't have 1 million views on each episode or whatever, but I think that it's just a really cool like explanation of just some of the stuff that we like and some of the things that we really want to celebrate and be movie culture and everything else like that.
That keeps my editing system warm. It keeps it going. In
Right.
between, yeah.
We've gone to Rock and Shock a whole bunch of times. We've visited celebrities at their tables and stuff like that. It's really cool. I like being part of the show, and even some of the escapist things that we did. Like we did an episode where we went to see the location of Beetlejuice. Remember that?
Yeah.
That was
I did.
last year.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, one of the ones that stands out with me actually goes back to the very beginning where Nigel and I, may he rest in peace, love you, man. We both we were just touring Ghostbuster locations.
Oh, that's a great.
Oh,
episode.
wow.
We went to they were opening the stairs at the opening of the university and all that, and we actually stood and did the whole drinking scene, whatever it is, call it fake, we did all of that. But later that night we went to Tavern on the Green and did the whole "Hey, nice dog, you cute little pooch" scene and all that. and
My favorite
right
shot.
across the street from something. But the cool thing is like Nigel was such a charismatic personality. He walked up to the Ghostbusters headquarters. This is kind of in between film. This is like years before the female version and years after the sequel. And he actually had the painting of the ghost on the front of the thing there in front of the building at the time.
Oh, wow.
He walks up and he knocks on the door, and I'm like, dude. And he goes, and then the guy, I stopped recording the guy because and then he's like, we're so interested, we're just here. We don't want to make sure we're not creeping around, all this kind of stuff. And then, with him talking, I kind of blurred out, like thinking, oh my God, I don't want to get arrested in New York. And and then he's like, well, come on in. And then he let us go inside and we filmed the thing. He goes, as long as you don't film any of the equipment, it's
Oh,
fine.
wow.
Because for insurance purposes, they could, so
Right.
that's why in that episode, it's like black bars over numbers of people's blockers and stuff like this. But
Right.
we're walking in, and it's like, oh my God, that's where Venkman's office was. The wood panels and stuff like that are still back there, and they're on the back wall. Janine's office wall is gone, but you can see where it was.
Right.
And there was a basketball hoop, inside there, and there was a pole. They wouldn't let us go upstairs. But we didn't even ask, but they wouldn't let us go upstairs. But they go, that's not the original pole. They sit down. The hole is over here. And I'm like, wow. And they had the Ghostbusters. They actually have the Ghostbusters 2 sign, the peace sign.
Yeah, I know what you talk about.
Nice.
It's actually inside the fire station right now. I mean, I know a lot of people go there and they take pictures outside and all that stuff like this. That's because they don't have a Nigel with them.
That's their problem.
I love the shot of that episode where you recreated the scene where Dana Barrett comes out of the concert hall, and
Yes, yep.
and was it you or was it Nigel who was doing the thing Venkman was doing with the duck walk or whatever?
Are you kidding? We both did it, man.
Of course you did.
We were there in New York. Yeah, we did the walk. Yeah, the duck walk.
But they recreated that where they took the original footage of Dana looking out and they see Venkman. Instead, they see it's either
Nigel just like
he's doing the thing, and I'm just like, oh my God, that's so cool.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Yeah, I mean, it's this show. Well, yeah, I mean, over interesting stuff like that is kind of sparse over the years, but there have been, we went to, on that same trip we went to see Peter Parker's house.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Back in the day, they actually put a real address in the comic book where Peter
that's
Parker
right.
lived. And like the people who live there, God help them, people come by, stop by and visit. It's kind of his house when we went there was kind of the shrubbery was kind of grown over, but Nigel being who he is, he walked up and knocked on the door. He goes, "We just want to let you know we're not creeping around here. We're just yada yada." And he's like, and the guy was like, "Sure, whatever, just don't film me." I'm like, I wasn't planning on it, dude. But there was the window in front has this really cool spider web, black stained glass kind
Oh,
of
wow.
thing.
Nice.
That's like the only knowledge of that there's about it. So.
Oh, it's sort of like in London. There's 221B Baker Street, and there was an actual 221B, but it's nowhere near where it originally was, since London sort of expanded over time. So,
Yeah.
but on the site that it was supposed to be, they have like the Sherlock Holmes Museum, which I've been to. So same
I
idea.
remember we went to Maine to visit Stephen King's house. That was
yeah.
pretty cool. That was a good episode there.
I did that couple episodes, yeah.
We've done a bunch of stuff. We went to Martha's Vineyard. We did we looked at the locations of the Jaws and stuff like that. Oh
And
my
Sleepy
goodness.
Hollow.
Yeah.
And I just had one now. And I actually had something interesting in my head, but it went away.
That's another Nigel episode. You did like the locations for Men in Black too.
Yes. Oh yeah, that was the same. Oh yeah, that was really fun. The biosphere and all the
Yeah.
and the bridge. Oh my god, that was something.
Yeah. It was
Yeah,
Nigel really was a very important part of the show, and he remains to be part of the show in the open.
Yes, and he
Yeah.
contributed great music to your movie.
Oh, he
I mean,
did.
Like I
Yes.
said, it sounded so authentic to the 1980s. I thought
Mhm.
I was thinking to myself, I thought to myself at one point, like, is this The Cure? Is this, one of the groups? And I'm realizing, no, these are original tunes for the movie, and they just sounded fantastic.
Yeah.
The last feature I worked with him on was Last Exit. I played his brother. He played my brother in that film, and he was such a
So
great
you played
guy.
brothers.
Yeah, we played brothers,
Yeah.
and so like it was. He was such a great actor to work with. He was such a good person to shoot with, and he's such a goofy guy too. Because in between takes when we're being serious, he would like throw jokes and stuff like that. If you watch Ichabod, which is another movie Andy did with him,
I've seen the trailers for that. I've seen the trailer for that one, but I haven't. I've always wanted to see that one because
behind the scenes.
I love all the old sort of Witchfinder General sort of movies, so I would love to see that one.
The behind the scenes and like the goofy stuff that we have, Andy always throws in like a blooper reel, and just Nigel just shines. He just shines in that. His person, like, can you take it a little lower? A little lower. And he's so funny.
And I'd be like lower. He'd go lower, and I go lower. And like, that. And I'd be like lower. Nope, that's not gonna work.
Actually,
No,
the other thing we really loved about this movie.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say the other thing we really, my wife and I were watching it last night, we really loved the intro with all the snippets from old movies you put for the opening credits to There's Snow Escape.
Oh yeah. Well, then ironically, that actually is those are clips from a series of Edgar Allan Poe silent films I shot.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I shot 7 short stories of Edgar Allan Poe, and for personal reasons, those won't ever see the light of day. You want to come over and see them, you can, but
Absolutely.
there's like sad reasons why those won't be. I don't ever put those in the world, but I did use the footage, like you said, to show an older man, like in period piece kind of being.
Right.
That
Oh, it worked really well.
That was me and Lisa, so it worked out.
Really? I thought they were from like archive clips or something like that. They look really authentic.
Well, it's mixed.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, I mean, like the logs, the actual 1800s loggers, that was like, public domain.
Gotcha.
royalty-free
Yeah.
content. But like the guy walking around and the woman there too, that was actually Lisa and I from a short.
Okay.
But the funny thing is, like, when people watch it, I'm hoping that they catch, because my name's in the opening credits and her name's in the opening credits, and they've already seen us as the Cliff, and then basically all we are is this drive-on cameo at the end, our homage to Texas Chainsaw Massacre,
Right.
where the girl then is rescued by us and we drive off, leaving Leatherface Cliff, cold-hearted Cliff, just whacking away. So I mean, the whole movie has a lot of little homages. We have the Crazy Ralph's bike hanging out in front of one of the campground, the girls' Just all
You're
camper.
doomed. You're all doomed.
Making fun of it, but that's my retirement plan. I swear to
I,
God,
like,
I'm gonna
I know you're just gonna go around the campsites to where kids are like all just like, hey, we're gonna hang out today. You're gonna be the old man on the bike. You're
damn
all
right. That's my
doomed.
retirement plan. I'm gonna do Old Orchard Beach. I'm gonna ride around. I'm gonna be the crazy. I want to be that old man who just tells stories that goes nowhere, and no one has the heart to interrupt him because it's like, but that's and then
Do
ultimately
it
I'm
when
gonna.
do it when people are like buying
I'm gonna,
clams.
I'm gonna ultimately my big plan. I'm gonna ride that bike into a fireworks factory and just go out with a bang. I'm gonna spawn contain. What's the word here? I'm looking for it. Burst into flames. When you burst into flames, oh shit! I'm drawing the blank on the name.
Combust.
I want to spontaneously combust the fireworks factory and go out with a bang. That's my plan.
Well, going back to Andrew's idea, you should like drive up to somebody like at a clam shack or Hot Dogs Andy's, and they're about to order, and you go, "You're doomed. You're all doomed."
That's my
Just putting
plan.
mustard on it.
I might do that next summer. We'll see. I'll start next summer.
Yeah. But no, this actually it's a great channel too, because if people want to see a lot of the short films you've done, and just seeing it, like we mentioned earlier, the special effects, like when we were working on the short film about the alien sushi, just the alien sushi itself, you made a remote control alien sushi, and this thing, I've seen it up close. It is so amazing.
Well, again, that a lot of that is my brother Ken. He's like the servo guy.
Yeah.
That's a classic example of he made it work. I made it look like that. And,
Right.
and I help with the working too, and he helped with the look too. But like primarily, like if it looks when it looks good, when it's working great, that was because of him. If it looks cool and weird and unique, it's because of me. It's a great combo. Yeah, I mean, that idea was absolutely freaking hilarious because we were just talking about. We said the short film season was coming up, and there was a film festival called 15-Second Horror Film, and festival challenge. You don't have it anymore. It's too bad because it was really good. And we were literally actually having Chinese food at the mall. That place, the Golden Walk. We go, and Drew and I go to have food at the time.
For inspiration.
And it's like it just hit me like gas station sushi. That term is hilarious. And then I go, would it be awesome if it was like it came to life, or it was disaster or something, and then somehow we just came up with the idea of it being a little alien. Like, well, yeah, that would be out of this world. And I'm like, boom. And I was again that day I was on a whirlwind. I actually posted stuff. I'm showing Facebook pictures of me holding the bag, and I go, this is our new project coming up, yada yada. I was very I guess I get a little crazy. I never really realized that how.
But it's in a good way. It's one of these things. It's like this excitement comes over you, and it infects everybody else, because it's like you're just like it makes the project a lot more fun than somebody saying cut do it again, you didn't do it right. You're very easy to work with.
Well, that's nice of you to say.
I mean,
that film, but that film, even though it didn't get on the 15-second one, I did a 60-second cut of it. It actually entered. Did it enter last year or this year? I get a little confused because currently we have 30 movies registered for film festivals this year.
That's really cool.
It is actually. You know what? The 15-second version is in 2 festivals this year, and I'll let you know how that goes, Brett.
I can't wait to find out. Yeah.
I think one of Andy's films, Next Door, I think it ended up getting entered into a Russian film festival. And didn't it get entered into a Russian film festival or something without us knowing about it?
No, actually, it wasn't. You're thinking of another film. That one actually went into the Hollywood Filmland.
That's the one.
And I know I knew about it. What I didn't know is that I guess he told me. He told me at the premiere that it happened this, and we got this certificate of merit. We got wreath. We got a Wreath Award at the Hollywood Festival. And I'm here at the premiere, like, yeah, mingle, and I hate this kind of stuff, this kind of social event stuff. And it was literally like 10 years later, I was like something through stuff, and I went onto the IMDb page of that, and I'm like, what the hell is this? I only went back to it because I was trying to find the contact information for one of the actresses, and I'm like, what? Wow. And I'm like, I'm here lying in bed 8 o'clock in the morning because I was lazy. It was summertime, and I'm a teacher, so summers are wonderful.
That's understandable.
And I'm like, we did this. We won this 10 years ago. I'm just finding out. I posted it and I go, did anybody else know about this? And only one person, her friend Jen, she's like, yeah, I think I remember hearing something about that at the premiere. And I'm like, I know, maybe I did too. I don't know. But it was really funny, like, a bunch of, like, 10-year-old news. Hey, we won this award. So that was fun, yeah. The Russian thing actually was, it's actually this right here. Of course, your viewers are, it's just still audio. But if it is a video, I'm going to point to it right now. This right here is that showcase award and merit of a short 15 film that he was in. And
wow.
the bug.
That was the death one, right?
Yeah, that's the hospital one. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
that was the hospital one. Yeah. This guy, he's made so many movies.
Yeah.
It's great. He's just a movie making machine, you know. I know I've known lots of people who have always said to themselves, I want to make a movie. I want to make a movie. I want to make a movie. Andy does what other people don't do. He gets it done.
Exactly.
And I think that forget about like, having, ILM budget crap or having this or having that. He will do anything he needs to do. Like when we have to make a space station in his garage, we'll make a freaking space station in the garage. I mean, he directed an Aliens fan film back like 15 years ago. And,
I was going to another film, but yeah, that was that.
But yeah, we did a couple alien space station ones. He did a fan film, a Star Wars fan film about Jawas.
Yes, yeah.
That was another,
It was about a womp rat. It was like a silent film because no one spoke English in it. It was 17 minutes. And it was about a womp rat and some Jawas, and it's quite good. I like that one. I throw that one on the Facebook page on March 4th every year for a joke.
That's May the 4th be with you. Yeah. And then of course, like, like that was like, before all, before fan, like me, it was maybe around when fan films were kind of getting into their thing, but it was definitely a different kind of thing. And it was just totally cool. And he had he obviously is a teacher and he has kids that he works with. He had them as the Jawas,
yeah. Nice.
Which was fantastic casting.
That was fantastic because those two kids, you never see their face. And the parents were cool with it and all that. And they were actually very cool. They were very excited because they were there on the set too. Because we had a full-size sandcrawler, well, like mini sandcrawler kind of thing, and the full-size puppet of the womp rat. And it was really kind of cool because all we had to do was we fed them the craft service lunch and all that stuff. But what I did is I gave the two kids I don't know where I got them in passing Star Wars Lego sets. One of them was actually a Slave One set.
Oh, nice.
The other one was this X-Wing fighter one. So it was kind of cool. So they were like complete heaven. They were paid with Legos.
Ewoks versus Jawas.
Very, very expensive Legos now. And I look back and I'm like, wow, those are like $150 Lego sets.
Just don't open them.
Yeah, that's the thing. They were open. They were all built and all that stuff. So
I know.
I don't know, like you were going back to when people work with me. One of the things I kind of pride myself on, and again, I'm my worst critic. When you show up to a shoot, everything is ready, and if it's not ready, you got to be completely honest with the person and say, look, this won't be ready until so and so won't be here till noon, but we're gonna do this until they get there. There's always something to do. You shoot around and stuff like this. Yeah, so I like to I feel like. In my mindset, I feel like when people come to work on the film, like I'm wasting their weekend, but I'm going to make it worthwhile. This is going to be worth the while.
Oh, you do. You absolutely do.
And that's I got to amend that mindset right now because I'm working on a script right now. I'm going to actually, after this interview is done, I'm going to go upstairs and do some work writing it with my daughter, who's going to help me write parts of the screenplay.
It's not just a movie; it's an adventure.
It's a family business.
I got to kind of get into that mindset again. Like, look. Because I'm going to be calling people in soon saying, hey, look, this is happening. It is a one-day shoot. It will be awesome. It will be worth your time. We'll feed you well. If you get
What'd you do?
Shower,
I remember the days when we didn't have a shower available to us way back in the day. And we would go out in the middle of the woods and somebody would get killed or something and be covered in blood and whatever. And we were like, hey, I'm hungry. Let's go to McDonald's. Okay.
Oh no, Dunkin' Donuts. Dunkin' Donuts in Cumberland Farms. Yeah.
We would go to wherever it was, and we just have one person is covered in blood or whatever. And wasn't there an incident once where a person went in there and a cop showed up?
Oh God.
Yeah. someone was bloody, and like a woman came up and goes, "Are you all right?" Because she thought she got into a bar fight or something. But it was another example that when we were shooting the Werewolf Las Vegas film, there was a couple of the characters, a couple of ladies, they were they're covered in blood, and they go, "Look, this is, we gotta go. We have to gas up this car because we're not gonna make it back to the house. We're literally that low on gas. So we had to stop and get gas." And I go, "Maybe you guys should just lie down in the back seat." They ducked down in the back seat, and there's two bodies lying bloody in the back seat. I go, "You know what? I don't think that's gonna make it look any better." Lying down in the back seat, just kind of, I don't know, punch over and talk to each other.
I remember
We'll put you in the trunk. This will be fine.
the last exit. My car was the car that was in the scene, which got bloodied in the car, and like so there's all this blood on the top of the headliner, and I had to clean it out. And then there was blood all over the front of the car, and so I have to drive my car home. And I'm like, God, please, just don't get pulled over. Don't get pulled over.
Part of the car was planned. The inside of your car was not planned, and I to this day I feel so bad because it was.
Don't feel bad about it. I had that with pride. It was
Imagine
great.
if you got pulled over. Is there something wrong? The opposite. Is there something wrong? I sneezed.
As I was driving home, the rain started, and not just like a regular rain, like a monsoon rain. So it was like it washed it all off.
Washed it away. So.
Yeah, washed all the evidence away. It was great. But it's just like when you go to an Andy Sawyer movie, you're either gonna get killed, you're gonna be crew, or you're gonna be a combination of both.
Most likely you're gonna be both. Yeah, you're gonna be both. Yeah, definitely.
You're definitely acting. Guess what? You're on camera now.
And you can have a great time.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Really well, because people have actually returned to my movies because of Lisa's cooking. Because I got two of the cast members to come back for the shooting of another movie because they said, well, Lisa's gonna be doing craft service. She's gonna be doing the barbecue chicken, and then like she did, and man, it was amazing. I didn't have this belly before I met her, so.
I go home. I go over there.
Part of the payment.
I'll go over to his house. He'll be like working on some like costume or whatever. It'll be like the most evil, disgusting, horrible thing you'd imagine. And they're watching TV and they're all watching the Food Network.
Oh yeah.
Diners, dives, and everything else like that. And the food challenges like Iron Chef and everything. Meanwhile, Andy's like sewing like eyeballs on like something or whatever. But yeah, I mean, Andy, you really take a lot of pride and a lot of effort into the stuff you do, and it's. I don't want to, I mean, I think one of my favorite movies that you did personally to work on was Ichabod, just because of the work that you did, not only to create the whole look of that movie, but also just like the sound, because like even when people are stepping, you put creaks.
The set was made to look like an 18th century classroom, but the floor was pavement. So like every time Nigel took a step, he played Ichabod. Every time he took a step, there was 111 steps, he took a movie in a hardwood floor. I individually added creaking floors of which ironically it was real me walking around on a wood floor, and in a place I had in Fitchburg had this wood. It was an old apartment. They made really cool sounds here and there. And before I moved out, I specifically recorded all the creaking doors and all the clicking things, and me walking around in different paces and stuff, just to have it later on. And it paid up. But yeah, but the Ichabod film, like I was going to say before, that was interesting because the thing about that movie is it was shot like almost like you're watching a play. Like the camera frames are always pulled back a little bit, and people walk on and they do the interacting, and then they walk off. And it isn't. There's like really long tracking shots and stuff like this, and everything. There's, I would say, seriously, 40% of that movie are trick shot, where the magic is just off camera, cut off like by microframe.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's one scene where he gets out of his bed and he looks out the window and you see the cross hatches and he's looking through the window. That's literally like a plexiglass and electrical tape, but it's out of focus and it looks the part. Yeah. And there's one scene where they actually, when Ichabod goes into the classroom for the first time, he's standing in the doorway in the Reverend. We built the whole thing inside the garage, and when they're standing in the doorway, the sunlight behind them is real, but there's two fake windows that have these lights behind them that are beaming extremely bright.
Oh wow!
And when you on them, it looks there's no way of saying the telling that's not real sunlight coming through the window, but the real sunlight coming through the door.
I think the only
That was a really
location.
fun shoot. Yeah, because we would shoot one
Yeah.
set. We would shoot Ichabod's classroom and half the garage or the creature shop, and the other half was the bar.
Yeah.
And as soon as the bar was done shooting, we tore it down and we built Katrina's bedroom set. While literally like 11 inches away is the wall for the classroom. It was a really tight thing.
It's sort of like with Monty Python and the Holy Grail, where they were only allowed to use one castle. So they ended up shooting like the whole scene, like around different parts of the same castle. Because
Camelot.
Yeah.
It's only a model.
Because it's like the Scottish Tourism Board figured they were defiling their sacred castles, so they only allowed them this one castle to shoot. So it's like every scene.
And like, like I think the only location stuff we did on that was we went to a park, a bird sanctuary, and then we went to another location, which was like a horse farm.
It was
that was a great location. It had a covered bridge.
Yeah, because we went there just because of the horse, and then the person there had a horse passing. The horse was comfortable walking around. And I'm thinking, all right, we'll get some shots of Nigel as Ichabod on there. There we go. We roll up to this place. It's like right out of the 1800s.
Yep.
There's, first of all, not only there is a covered bridge, there was a church
Yep.
and a cemetery all on their playground, all on their ground. And I'm like, the whole freaking movie exterior shots are like here.
Yep.
So, and again, we had to trick. We didn't have our actress Christy there on that location, but we had Allison there, so she doubled as Katrina walking in from behind. And it's so many camera tricks in that movie. And I do love that one. I do take that one. I hold that one up with some pride.
I'm a big fan of the old Vincent Price, Roger Corman, Edgar Allan Poe films, and
It
they
feels a lot
definitely
like
had
that.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
would love to do a film like that. Yeah.
I can get you a copy of that. I can see what I can do about digging up that because
Yeah, I would love to see that.
yeah, I mean, those are the days. We got it done.
We got more days coming ahead of us because obviously it's a circus that keeps coming back to town.
Yep.
And that mind of his just keeps on rolling around with all the crazy ideas, and I'm on for it 100%.
Well, just like
Whatever
we were
Andy-
talking, we were talking about, just you taking places around the area, and that's what we did when we were filming my scenes. Is just in their snow escape. It's just taking what's around you, saying just saying, oh, there's like World War II bunkers down the road. We could film something there. Or just okay, we'll film something there, and then it's like there's a bird sanctuary. We're going to use that in a scene for like the campground. It's like, oh, okay, and it worked really well. It's like taking what's around you and just making it work for what you're working on.
Well, not only that, he just gives you so much opportunity to create.
Yeah.
It's
like a collaboration. It really is.
The cat, like many times in that movie, the cast is got a background like of a something a campground thing that we built, and they're looking out to my neighborhood. But the way it's cut, when the camera pulls around, they're looking out over on the lake.
Right.
So I mean,
exactly.
they worked on that kind of trick stuff.
Yeah.
I appreciate you.
Also, there's the little 80s. There's the little 80s horror trick of not making your characters completely likable, so when they get killed, you don't feel so bad about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the trick is, well, I mean, that's one of the things I like try to do too. Like, you got to know that every character has a little bit of development.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like you watching someone who wasn't killed. You're watching someone killed and you don't know them. Who cares? But you got to know them, whether you like them or not.
Yeah.
You at least know who they were and what they were part of the story, why they were important to the story, and then now they're gone.
Yes.
Sometimes Andy and I have like a little bit of a game going on whenever we see a horror movie. It's like, okay, who's going to get killed first? Who's going to do this first? Who's going to do that first? And so we'll just like guess. Okay, I think that guy's going to get it here. That girl's going to get it there. And I remember one time I got all of them right.
Well, that person's
that
person's the virgin. They'll get through.
They always have to have one.
Yeah.
And oh yeah, I mean so you gotta break that up a little bit. You have to you got to introduce the character before you can do anything to them. And another stereotype I love to always play against. I mean, first of all, there's two things. I will never make police officers or any authority figures look stupid. Your character was a ranger character and it played the part, but your character it was goofy to the film, not because you were a ranger.
Yeah.
But that's about as goofy as you get. I liked it, like, because like when you see Friday the 13th, like the one thing that kills that movie is the police officer riding up on a motorcycle, and I always hold that in my back of my brain. I go, if they didn't have that one scene in there, it'd be amazing. Last house on the left, the cops, they look like complete fools, but the rest of this movie is as dark, dramatic, torture fest.
Right.
It's very contrary. That is one, and the other stereotype I always break is cell phones always work in my movie.
Yeah.
And doesn't mean the person on the other side is alive.
Exactly.
Cell phones always work.
Yeah.
I always thought that was a horribly done crutch in the first inception of cell phones started appearing in movies. It's like, the cliche was, I don't have a signal. Like, really? What are you going to Mars?
I also like the jokes in this movie too, because one of my favorite jokes is like when one of them goes, "Hey, maybe you guys should get a cell phone plan together that actually connects."
Yes.
It's like, whoa!
I wrote that line. I wrote that line.
That's a good line.
That's funny. That's a pretty funny story because like we were waiting for my wife and I were like waiting to pick up our daughter who was coming home from a weekend field trip at school, and we're sitting in the parking lot with other parents, and I got a pad of paper and I'm writing down notes and stuff like this. I go, look, we need to we need this one zinger line that will really just cap this scene and show her character all in one line, and what can she possibly say? And that came up to my mind. I'm like, that is brilliant. I remember writing that down on paper, excited about getting back to the house to put it in the computer, and excited about shooting just that one scene. I'm like,
that's always the best thing, when you just have that, you want to write it down as quickly as you can, just so you don't forget about it.
Yeah.
Well, now I have my phone. I'm writing the new script
Yes.
on the phone we're shooting right now. And I'm like waiting for my physical therapy. Every time my physical therapist comes out of the office and calls my name, I'm on my phone. I'm working on the script. I'm like, wait a second, and then I put it away. And they're like, and she's like, the script. I'm like, yep.
And the physical therapist loves the movies too. Like, you tell them about that.
Well, yeah, they ask questions and make try to make you comfortable and all this. And then I was explaining what I did, and she was very interested. And then so I gave her a couple of copies of the movie to watch. And Last Exit and There's No Escape. I mean, the Last Exit and Next Door, two older feature films. And I go, and she's like, "Do you want these back?" And I go, "Well, usually the protocol is if you watch them and you're done with them, just give them to someone else you think might like them, whatever." And little did I know, 2 weeks later, they're actually making the rounds at the physical therapy.
Wow.
They're like, "So-and-so's watching film." I'm like, "Okay, what's going on here?" No, it's kind of funny.
I have to confess, I did get chided for my parenting skills by my wife for my character in the film. It's like, you're letting your daughter drink beer.
You didn't know about that.
Exactly. I tried to explain that, but she's like,
"Yeah, you're a bad dad."
Yeah,
Brett.
it's like just letting your daughter drink beer. I was like,
No, she didn't. That's the whole thing is like she was doing it on her own because she was a sneaky kid. She was
Right.
responsible. She was sneaky. Yeah, I know. And then I like there's really one subtle moment when she's holding the bottle. I won't say what happens in the scene and spoil it, but she's holding a bottle of whiskey or something. And there's a slight moment she's looking at it and she licks her lips, and it's like. I don't think she was doing. I think she was doing it because her lips were dry and she was getting ready to say her next line.
yeah.
But I'm like, oh my god, she's like a little watch girl character. What a great little moment. I mean,
Right.
that was not scripted, but there it is.
Yeah.
Well, that and the character running away from Cliff and just grabbing the Jameson bottle and then just having to take a drink before she.
I'll tell you about that. That's something funny about that. I go because we were going to be moving to the next scene. And I said, it wouldn't be funny. Her character would have that. It's kind of important to her. And I go, you know what? We'll shoot it without you doing it, which we did. And I go, we'll shoot this if you can really make it work. And then she's like, okay. So she does it, and then she nailed it that first time. When she runs back, runs back, grabs that bottle. It's important enough, and she's justifying in her mind that this snowman is not going to move fast enough for me to go back and get that
Right.
bottle. It plays is so hilarious. And that one take you saw in the movie, that's the one take we have. It. Go, you know what? We got it. Yeah, that'll work.
No, that was hysterical. That was a great.
Don't you want to have a second take for protection?
Yeah.
Consider protect. It was perfect.
Let's get this fucker filmed.
And then they mirrored it later on when she's running through the woods, and I go, we were running along, which that was really tricky and difficult when she's running through the woods because Oh my God, this is hilarious. She's not. I love her. God bless her. She's not a country girl. She's a city girl. She's like,
Oh, okay.
party limelight kind of clubber girl.
Yeah.
And she's like, what? It was a new experience running through the wood. Because we were like, the ground even where we were was kind of like muddy, and like the terra firma wasn't really there. And she had to wear sneakers. And every shot, you don't even bother looking. You don't see them ever. Every shot in there, you can't see her feet, or her feet are in mud, deep enough in
Right.
mud where she couldn't run. You realistically couldn't run through those woods in bare feet.
Right. I was wondering about that.
Herky jerky and like this. And my daughter Elizabeth actually was the head of wearing the cliff outfit in that particular scene because we needed a quick filler for that. Yeah, I remember she was like, she's like, she was in her shoes and she was like, I just stepped in deer shit. This is thing. This just happened. And I'm like,
Oh,
well,
dear.
you know what? You go, you know what? Well, I almost said that. And I go, well, you know what? We'll run this way instead. And then
It
we
would
just
have been
went
funny if she was like running around going, ew.
It wasn't even like, oh no, she's not a new kind of person. She's
Oh,
like,
Buck.
she's standing there like, I'm stepping in deer shit right now. Like, I know. Well, we'll go this way. Time run this way.
Oh, welcome to nature, city girl.
Oh my
And then when
goodness.
she was, obviously when she did the kill scene, that was just a joke, and that was cut out of the original cut. And I'm like, you know what? This movie's we're already through the looking glass of stupidity here, for the most part.
She's
So
getting,
I put that in there. Yeah, and she takes the wig while she's getting hacked up.
I like the bride when she's like, she's getting hacked up. She's like,
Yes. She takes the last swig.
it's
But like, it's going down her throat into her disemboweled body.
Yes. That would have been a funny sequence, just having the alcohol, you just see like the alcohol leaking out of somewhere.
Well, that was just meant to be a joke. And when we filmed it, that was
Right.
just I'm like, stay in character. You got to stay in character.
That was good.
It's brilliant.
Yeah,
It's fucking
I mean,
brilliant.
yeah, it's like there was a lot of great like ad-lib moments in that.
Yes.
The blueberries and the guys at the tent, pretty much, in the fireworks scene.
Boobs like a giraffe. That was the line. Boobs like a giraffe.
And then he starts laughing, and actually that was a cutaway. Originally, that was something for the full cut too. That was never put in the movie before. And that was kind of like an extended dialogue with the pizza with boobs on it.
That's great.
Yeah, that's right.
And so, I mean, yeah, those characters were fun. I mean, and again, if you watch the movie, those two, they're like the Shakespearean comic relief. But every time you see them, they're always it's like one take.
They're like the Jay and Silent Bob of the movie.
Exactly, but like when the way they're filmed though, like Joe but that's both Joe Woodson and Joe Cavalier. They're both named Joe. They did the scene, and I set the camera back, and everything had the shot. We poofed the smoke fog machine for the fog to come up, and he's like, "Oh, that was a loud fire when they're shooting off the fireworks." And they let it go, and they never break character, and they run that scene for about over a minute, just completely unbreaking character, and it's awesome. So that's the case of people. I let them ad lib. I mean,
Absolutely.
and I like because there's a difference between working with people who are actors and people who are not actors. I like them both. The actors can be kind of like and this is not even a cliche. They're like, well, what's my motivation? And you'll tell them, I'm not prepared. I got your motivation. Yeah. This is what you're doing. Yeah. And there'll be another question. And like, well, yes, we're gonna play it like this. Should we go slower, go faster? Like, no, just to play it out, and I can control the speed. I'm not gonna make you look foolish. And
Do it live.
actors are like that, which is good, because when you get actors going in a scene, you're going to get gold. You're going to get good stuff. People who just come to do it for fun, it's easier. I find it's easier to get people to react to something, non-actors to react to a situation,
Right.
as opposed to, like, what am I acting, correctly? Like, like someone who's never been there before. Like, we just pretend there's a big freaking. I did this. Pretend there's a big bear right there in the corner of the bedroom, and then they get the look like they're actually imagining it. They're like, that's the look I want. Like, you know what? I was already recording, so we're gonna go with that right now. We're gonna do another take.
Another great effect in the film was Cliff's severed arm. When it was moving, that was really, really good.
The trick about that was the continuity.
Yeah.
Because because when I was putting the two short films together, I was just telling Drew about this last night because he watched it. When we mentioned movies together, in part two, at the beginning of part two, remember it's 2 half-hour films that we put together.
Right.
At the beginning of part two, he comes back and he puts his. This is not a spoiler alert. It's not important. No, he puts himself back together and he has a bandage around him. So I had to go when I cut the movie together as is with bandages in there, and then I went back and I told Ken, I go, look, we got to reshoot this, and we got to reshoot this, and just remembering those shots. And it was awesome. The reason we put the cliff suit on for the 7th time, and we fixed it with latex, and I'm sure the thing must weigh like 200 pounds by now.
Oh, easily.
It's a fire hazard.
It doesn't even wear the feet anymore. But the thing is, there was one scene I was talking to Drew because I prided myself on the fact that none of the movie, not one single frame of the movie is shot on a phone. And see, there's no CGI in it, but I used the computer to correct mistakes.
Right.
Two in particular, like I always really, really loved the footage of the snowman coming up behind the back of the car, and he whacks it with his axe. And then we just did that on the fly that day, and it came out so cool. And it's one of my favorite scenes. And it's in the scene where we my wife and I come on and we rescue the girl. We were driving away, but he swings down the axe, and you can clearly see that there was bandages on there, and it was really noticeable. So what I ended up doing is I took the 61 or 71 frames of that, brought them into Paint Shop Pro, digitally erased the cloth on his hand because it's a dark shot, and put them back in, and that's computer
I couldn't
animation.
tell. Couldn't tell.
That's the thing you can't. And the other one is when a character loses their head. I won't say anything. One of the characters literally loses their head. It falls backward. And in the original footage, there's 11 frames where you can see duct tape. A little bit of duct tape that was holding it on because the head was supposed to fall forward, but it was much better, more impressive than falling backwards. I'm going backwards, this is perfect. And I look at it and I go, yep, there's 11 frames here. So I went individually, grabbed those single 11 frames, brought them in Paint Shop Pro, digitally erased them, and I put them back in. And that's what's in the movie. And I don't even have the original footage anymore for comparison. So people are like, well, what did it look like? I go, I don't. A lot of the footage, unfortunately, for this movie got lost.
Oh.
Which was the catalyst of actually putting this movie together as a feature-length cut. That and Drew's rant that particular day about the one movie we were watching. It's like, why don't we do this? And I'm like, well, I don't have a feature-length film.
I'm glad to have been the inspiration to make you do that.
And it was
Damn yuppies.
That would just shut you up too. Oh yeah, well, yuppies is always yuppies and hippies.
Yep.
Those are always two
Go
terms.
back to the 60s.
I always
with,
use them.
with your Instagram, your TikTok.
Talk ticks.
Yes.
Again, it goes back to the 80s with me. It always does. And if you watch some of my films, the names Rick and Phil will always kind of be associated with jerks.
Yeah.
It's just an ongoing joke from a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought it was kind of funny because in one of the movies we used Phil and the other one we used Rick. So in the movies, in the feature lengths, they're both in there.
Why? Do you know any Rick and Phils that were jerks? Or because I understand because I have certain names that where people, it's like I knew somebody like that and he was kind of an ass, so I kind of associate with that name.
Not me, but people I know.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So it's nothing personal. I got nothing. Yeah. I got no problem with any Rick or Phil.
Yeah. So how long are we gonna? How much more do we have for this episode? Do we already do
Whatever you guys still want to keep talking about. I mean,
I have to get going pretty soon. So.
All right, that's understandable then. But
Okay.
I think actually, you on the trailer you put together earlier, you had a release date of February 14th, which happens to be my birthday. So is there going to be like a big release date party or anywhere people can see it?
That is going to be I believe is going to be the day that it's released on demand on Fitchburg Access Television. So
Okay.
anybody can go to, instead of going to try to seek out my page, you can, and it's going to be more publicly, it's going to be open to the public via them for a while because I'm still shopping this one around to distributors right now. I did one, I entered it into 4 film festivals. So, and then I contacted one distributor and I haven't gotten anything back from them. So I'm just going to go to the next one and then just keep going and keep on going until someone pays attention to me.
You had mentioned wanting to have it posted on Tubi.
I would love that.
Yeah.
No, nothing direct. I actually, this is pretty. This is kind of fresh out of the box. I mean, the people who have seen it, I don't even. Majority of the cast who are in it haven't seen it yet. You guys have seen it because
Yeah.
you showed interest in it and all that stuff. But
Some of the directors that I know that have put stuff on Tubi, they use a distributor. I actually reached out to one of them and said, yeah, it's this, the one that you mentioned, Andy, to me earlier the other day, is the one that you've gone to. So, I mean, like, honestly, they're looking just for content at this point, really, a lot of those streaming services. They're looking for stuff just to put on, even if it's just like, any kind of movie. And that's kind of the cool thing about it now is that, back in the day when we were still making movies on DVD, back in the day when Andy and I like really started selling DVDs, like I would actually make DVDs at my house.
Yep.
And we got a DVD copier and we're copying like 50, 60, 70 DVDs. And literally we're driving to like, Baltimore, Maryland for the Horrifying weekend. And we're selling, that was great. And we were like selling as many DVDs as we possibly could. And, and then at the end of the weekend, we'd be like, yeah, we paid for our trip. Woo! And then we just drive back.
In doing that though, after like 2 or 3 of those conventions, we actually did get our money back for the movie.
Did.
So because again, I didn't spend a whole lot of money on making the movie, so it's easier to get your money back from making a movie back in those days.
Yeah.
So is it going to be available on Fitchburg Public Access online as well as on television?
Online, yeah. Online.
Oh, cool.
On
Okay.
demand, yeah. I was talking to Ann. She's like, because Ann at the TV station, she's like, I told her I was ultimately going to try to get it, streaming. I mean, I just started that, so like, talking about it is kind of weird. I feel like I feel like, well, I'm having trouble. I'm not having trouble doing it. I got like literally days ago, a week ago, it's finished.
It's just you just got the ball rolling
Yeah, and I'm watching it again a couple times here and there, seeing little things to be tweaked, and and I think I got all the little tweaked out. So the hard copy that I have that the people are asking for is ready. So
I think that one of the charms about Andy's movies is that it's not perfect, but it's entertaining, and that's the best part about it is that it's entertaining and people are going to like it. But like the other thing too is like I remember back in the day when like we were trying to get distributing movies and stuff like that. Just having the ability to do streaming is like so out of like science fiction world. It was almost impossible to even imagine that could possibly happen. Now it's like, well, hey, we can put this on YouTube and then we can sell it to a distributor and everything else like that.
But the thing is, that's where I watch my movies. I don't watch TV. There isn't any regular TV show I got going on. I mean, people,
No, me neither.
I watch movies. Like Tubi. Like are you kidding? There's 1,000 movies out there right off the main screen that I want to see. I mean, I have seen. So that's
Andy's DVD collection is right out of a 1980s mom and pop video shop.
Oh,
it really is.
Absolutely.
Yes, and so are my movies.
They deserve, yeah.
I was that guy who worked at the video store. In the 90s, late 80s, early 90s. That was me. I was there. I was when looking at the good ones. The traumas and the
yes.
The house on
Creepazoids, rated R.
Fat guy goes nutsoid.
Suckers from outer space. Oh my God, yes. Yeah, no one else is renting them. So.
Oh God, yeah.
Wanted the new ones. Like,
I worked at the Blockbuster video store, and there was the clean, nice one. It's just like ridiculous how they still had those movies there, but they were like, they'd have like 100 copies of Forrest Gump. It was ridiculous.
And of course, after 4 months, they got to sell like all but 3 of them because
right.
It's no longer a new release.
Exactly.
I feel bad for this generation. They'll never have the pleasure of walking into a video store. It was always like very euphoric. I mean, I always went right for the.
Yeah, I think one of the big differences. I think one of the big differences is that we had to earn the right to see the movies that we wanted to see because we had to hunt for it. We had to look for it.
Oh, heck yeah.
It was more of like a search kind of thing. Nowadays it's all point and click and download whenever you want to see it. But like even music too, like when the record stores were around, like finding that one album that you liked that you were going to spend $15-20 on that wasn't going to suck, And oftentimes you'd buy that album. There would be like one out. They'd buy the album, and maybe one or two songs were good, and maybe you'd find another song on it that you like, but like the rest is kind of like filler from the band.
Right.
The same thing about movies is that you had to find, and not only that, but you had to look at the art on the front of the box, and the art on the front of the box was never like the movie on the inside.
Oh, hell no.
The best part, though.
Yeah,
I know.
exactly.
It was a fortune cookie.
I've been struggling with the cover of this one because I was like I put the generic one together just to like shop it around out there, but I'm looking. I want to make a final picture that I can put that film filter on and make it look like an old painting. Like
Yeah.
the old VHS cover. That's what ultimately I'm trying to get. I don't have that right now. I have just
Except Bikini Girls and Explosions with Cliff.
obviously, like, well, there, yeah, here, like, I mean,
Yeah, there you go. Just like that.
So, I mean, I know obviously you can't see it, but so I mean,
Brilliant stuff. Brilliant stuff.
it is what it is. It's fantastic in its own way. Yes, is it for everybody? No, but it's done. It's a good time. I didn't waste anybody's time. I'm very proud of how this one came out, and I am my worst critic, but I look at this one and I go, you know what? As rough as this is in some parts, and as awful as it is in parts, it's done and it's amazing.
It's entertaining.
It's got heart.
It's got a lot of heart.
It's got heart.
It's got character.
And Cliff is holding one of them.
And Cliff's got one of them.
Yeah, so I mean,
But it's a great film, and everybody should go out and see it because it's
Go
fun
see
to
it.
watch.
I'm gonna get it out there for you guys. Trust me, I'm gonna get it on streaming. I just got it done the other week. I'm working on it. It's in 4 film festivals. You can figure them out. The film festival, if I could mention, I won't mention them now because I don't
This
have
is
the name.
this is the film that's inspiring me to become Sergeant Slaughter for a cosplay. I'll do
There's
it.
that first scene with Andrew walking through what's supposed to be the ranger station with the sunglasses and the coffee, just looking like he's gonna punch somebody in the face.
Weekends.
The irony, though, is that it really was a ranger station, and but he wasn't the ranger, but he fit the part because he had the badge.
He did.
Oh my God.
That's like that creepy slight look you look when you turn to look, just like peek into the restroom as you're walking by, like like looking for troublemakers. I'm like, dude, you embody that character in the worst way.
Oh yeah.
I appreciate it.
It's not just dialogue. You see, when you're acting, and I think this is something that I always tell people when they have to act. It's not about how you say the lines. It's how you deliver the persona. And there's so many little psychological things that you have to kind of like think about when you're acting for character. And it's a lot of acting is nonverbal. And so when you have stuff like that, moments where you can actually shine that kind of stuff, that's when you do it. I'm
Well,
looking forward to the next movie.
I do intend on dragging you both back into it.
Well-
Except for something a little bit more beefy, a little bit more of a substantial part. I've already written you guys in, whether you realize it or not.
Well,
I want to fight aliens in bikinis next movie.
We'll be willingly dragged into this. I'm willing. I'll do it.
I will be there, and I'm going to go upstairs and continue working on the script. My daughter's
Awesome.
waiting for me.
All right.
So in the meantime, people can go on Andyland TV to watch Andy's little sci-fi horror show, as well as see some of your past short films.
Correct.
All on YouTube.
Yes, Andyland,
Oh.
yeah. Yeah, that's about
Smash that like button.
Well, yeah.
And tell your friends.
Yes. Thank you guys.
And your enemies.
I'll see you guys all later, anyways, in real life. Yeah.
Oh, great,
All right.
great to have you. It was
Nice talking to you, Andy.
Love ya.
Yeah.
All right.
Peace out.
Peace.
I would like to thank our guest Andy Sawyer for stopping by. His new movie, There's Snow Escape, will be debuting February 14th on Fitchburg Public Access's website. You can see more of Andy's short films, as well as his ongoing web series, Andy's Little Sci-Fi and Horror Show, on his YouTube channel, Andyland TV. On behalf of Andrew Shanley, thank you for listening to The Mental Suppository. Until next time, this is Bret Herholz saying...
I knew I'd disturb you.
The Mental Suppository has been produced by Bret Herholz and Jamie Billings and distributed by M The Media Project. Theme music generously donated by Mr. B, the Gentleman Rhymer. Visit his webpage at gentlemanrhymer.com. We would love to hear from our fans. email us at mentalsuppository@gmail.com.